Undoubtedly, guns have been one of the most influential inventions on human life. After the manufacture of gunpowder and shotguns, light weapons entered the battlefields, and with the invention of the revolver by Samuel Colt, their entry into the cities was delayed. One of the types of weapons that has had a significant impact on the fate of humanity, and according to some available statistics, the largest number of weapons of its type have been made, is the Russian Kalashnikov weapon. Kalashnikov is among the weapons that are unknown to few people. Kalashnikov is called the weapon of the century, and after more than half a century of its creation, its production is still going on. This weapon is still used by various armies in the world, and of course more than any other weapon, it has killed people in every corner of the world. Due to the very low cost of manufacturing and easy use, Kalashnikov has changed the equations of many wars, a clear example of which is the Vietnam War, when the Soviet Union stopped the American advance by arming Vietnamese farmers with Kalashnikov. This invention was so important for Russia that it gave its inventor the highest medals and national awards and made him a national hero. Today, various and developed types of this weapon are produced in more than 40 countries of the world, and a huge network of its supply is active. The thing that makes this weapon unique is not its originality. In fact, the Kalashnikov is an amalgamation of other weapons that have existed before it. The mechanism of trigger, latch, bullet feeding and gas arming in this weapon is exactly borrowed from other weapons, but these features are combined through a platform that gives the gun incredible durability, high reliability, and a very low manufacturing cost. Mikhail Kalashnikov, born in Siberia, Russia, is the one who designed the Kalashnikov weapon for the first time. He experienced a difficult childhood. Perhaps at first glance, a person who is the inventor of such a deadly weapon may be known as a violent and emotionless person, but it is strange that Mikhail was interested in poetry and literature since childhood. During this time, he fell ill. In 1930, his family was exiled to a remote area in Siberia after their house was confiscated during the confiscation of property in the Soviet Union, and Mikhail lost his father there. At the age of 13, he returned to his hometown in Korea and was able to find a job in a tractor and agricultural machinery repair garage. Following this, he developed a strong interest in machinery. It wasn't long before he joined the army in World War II to fight against the German forces. At first, he served as a tank mechanic because of his small size as well as his experience with machinery. A few years later, after being promoted, he became a tank commander. In the Nazi attack on Russia, he saw the poor performance of snipers, heavy weapons, or precision snipers in the front line. The Russians suffered far more casualties than the Germans. The reason for this was that the German soldiers were equipped with light and automatic volleys. In this attack, Kalashnikov was injured and hospitalized after being hit by a bomb shrapnel. In the hospital, he met an injured person, which not only changed the course of Mikhail's life, but also changed the course of war and humanity. Mikhail says in his memoirs that this wounded man told him with endless regret why our soldiers should have one rifle for every 2 or 3 people, while every German soldier has an automatic weapon. The same issue motivated Mikhail to build a cheap and high-performance automatic weapon to defend his land. Mikhail knew that the use of medium calibers would be ideal for the soldiers who are engaged in the front line with the enemy, because it is easier to shoot consecutive bullets with medium calibers, and on the other hand, due to their low weight, it was possible to carry more of them by soldiers. All these features, while the use of high calibers was common in the army of this country. But unlike the Russians, the Germans had such a weapon, the Maschinenkarabiner, which was eventually upgraded to the STG-44. This gun had a very high rate of fire, and on the other hand, it was much lighter than a bullet. What had caused the superiority of the German forces in the conflict with Mikhail's comrades? Mikhail made his first gun prototype at the Matai train station where he worked before the war. He presented his first weapon to the Moscow Scientific Research Military Laboratory, so that they could perform the necessary tests on it. Due to its shortcomings, his weapon did not pass the tests and was not accepted. Nevertheless, Mikhail was not disappointed and began to improve his plan. In 1945, he participated in a competition to design a gun for a bullet that had been developed by the Army 2 years earlier. This time, his new design was accepted for use in the Army. In this regard, Mikhail went to the city of Izhevsk, Russia, to make a military version of his weapon. Finally, this weapon was mass-produced in 1949. Its official name, which later went by several names, was the 7.62 mm Kalashnikov rifle.